It's pie dough. We're making pie dough.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Breijo with the LA Times Food Section, and I'm here today with Courtney McBroom, the culinary consultant for the fantastic Apple TV Plus show.
Very important.
Lessons in Chemistry, wherein food plays a pivotal part of the storyline, especially for star Brie Larson, who has a wonderful TV series back in the 1950s about chemistry and cooking for your family. One of the main forces who made all of that happen was, of course, Courtney. So today, Courtney is gonna show us how to make a perfect pie.
Called apiogenesis. And it's a nod to the show because Elizabeth and Calvin were studying abiogenesis, which is the beginning of all life. That's what the whole thing that they were doing in the show was all about. This is apiogenesis because this is the beginning of a pie's life. It's pie dough. We're making pie dough. Start with flour, my friend. 2.5 cups to be exact.
Talk to me a little bit about, I guess, bringing chemistry into food, and did you have to teach your longtime friend, Brie Larson?
She's a great cook. I mostly just taught her how to finesse. You want to cut the butter?
I'll cut the butter. Let's do it.
Do you want the cool, awesome knife, or do you want the pastry knife? This is technically what you should use, but I feel like this knife is awesome, and just cut it into cubes.
Perfect.
We're gonna create some gluten in this pie crust.
Excellent.
You know about gluten, right?
Of course, gluten is not the devil, by the way.
We actually want to have a little bit of gluten in the pie crust, not too much. You want it to be flaky and not tough, but it's good to create a little bit because it gives that little bit of a bite.
You also read the script and you weighed in with some thoughts for the character and the cooking of all that.
Yeah.
What was that process like?
It was actually one of the coolest processes of my life. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I'd never worked on a TV show before. I think it's in the first episode. The director, Sarah Dina Smith, she directed the first 2 episodes. She's amazing, but she hadn't worked a ton with food. And she's also a vegetarian, which is so funny because it was this beautiful meat lasagna.
Yeah, there's a lot of meat.
Today, we will be making a fan favorite, lasagna.
And I was kind of directing Sarah as Sarah was directing Brie to make the lasagna, so it kind of felt like I was getting to be a director.
Yeah, basically.
And it was easily the coolest moment of my life.
That's
amazing. I was
amazing.
all right, tell her to go. She's like, go. And I'm like, okay, that's good enough. Stop stirring. Stop stirring. I'm like, okay, it needs to be steamier.
You controlled the director.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was Ratatouille.
What more does any chef want, honestly?
So let's make something hearty. Let's make something delicious.
Do you want to get your hands in or do you want me to?
Always. That's the thing about cooking, you gotta get in.
So toss it around, get all the butter cubes
Fully coated.
and then squish them between your hands.
Oh yeah.
It's really important to have a good salty.
Oh, salt and sweet is a classic.
It's
classic.
And we're also gonna add some sugar to it.
You actually, I guess, made and styled, right?
Yeah, all of the food that Elizabeth thought had anything to do with was me.
Incredible.
And food is its own character on the show. It's like the catalyst to so many of the connections that happen. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true to life, that's how it is in life too. Elizabeth and Calvin fall in love over lunch.
It smells good. Is that mashed potatoes?
There's this huge potluck, and it's everyone comes together, everyone brings their food, and to me it's so beautiful and symbolic of the whole meaning of the show, which is about connection and about sticking through thick and thin with your friends, and what better way to do that than with food.
Yeah.
Food is how we do that.
And it's community, it builds community around them.
I'm obsessed with vintage cookbooks.
Oh my God, me too.
Particularly the Betty Crocker recipe card collection. Do you know that one?
Oh, absolutely.
I love that one. All the food at that time is so weird. One of my favorite things is raw pie dough.
Oh my God. There are so few ingredients in a good pie dough.
You have to have the best ones.
You have to have really good ones, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just doing light flouring. I'm gonna get pie dough everywhere, but that's okay.
Why is it important to use cold butter?
Because you want there to be butter chunks. You want the butter chunks to remain, because whenever you put it in the oven and it melts, then the steam creates a pocket of steam, and that's what makes it flaky. So if it's not cold butter, then it'll just be making cookie dough. You know, the butter will be too emulsified. We're not looking for that.
They're like ribbons of butter.
Can you see the ribbons?
That's exactly what you want. Exactly what you want.
Yes, it's perfect.
I feel like we really crushed this.
This is something that's kind of cool that we're gonna do differently. We're gonna actually put a fold in, like puff pastry style fold into this dough to help create even more layers. We're kind of like doing like a blitz puff pastry.
And so what does this technique lend to the finished pie crust?
So it's literally creating more layers for extra flakiness.
Perfect. We love it.
And that's science. That's just plain science. So the savory galette, which you can get the recipe for this pie dough and also the galette and the lasagna and all of the lessons in chemistry recipes at lessonsinchemistryrecipes.com. For the galette, all you would do is simply put the filling in it and then fold it over. So you just kind of like push it in on
like the
edges.
heel of your hand.
Yeah.
The
You
full
can just kind of
terrifying
trim around so it's like the same length. Do you want to try a crimp?
Oh yeah. So we'll just do a little crimpy crimp.
Oh no.
Okay.
I think it's easier to do it. Sorry, that actually is fine. That's fine. Look what we made.
We did it with science.
Yes, science. I'm really looking forward to the LA Times Food Bowl this September 20th, 21st, and 22nd. I'm gonna head straight to the Burritos La Palma booth and get all of the burritos. They're so good, and they're tiny. They're like little burritos, so you can have more than one. It's the best thing about them.